wouldn't have been here.
That's right.
So at some point, we recognized it for what it was going to be and how hard it was going to be, and said, I can do this. I can do this.
Right. And we wouldn't be here if we hadn't already made that choice.
Exactly. And know at a soul level.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and know at that soul level that all of the support we're going to need is there for us.
That's right.
If we can just open that connection.
Yeah.
And that's really where our practice needs to be, is in the meditation, whatever it's going to take to open that practice. And that's where, as we started this, I have to shift, the conversation in my life, from, folks, the world's a little act up, but, that's okay. Yeah, it's okay. That's part of this game.
Yeah.
So now it begins into moving us into the consciousness aspect of it.
Yeah. Now there's a deep spiritual side to you as well. You are involved with making the ormus, I guess it's called monatomic gold, or it has lots of different philosopher's stone, and you have quite a spiritual aspect to you as well, which I find very refreshing. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, because that's who I am. That part of me is who I am. The weather, just paid the bills. It paid the bills, and I enjoyed that. But there was, I came across a book called The Celestine Prophecy in '97, and I was kicked out of the Mormon Church, when I was 19, or 18, back in early 1985, and so I kind of wandered in the darkness, without a belief system, and read the Celestine Prophecy, and honestly, my answer was like a dike broke. A dike broke, and there was this fire in me that I hadn't realized was there, and so, from then to now, it's just a matter of searching for truth with the capital T. And I was really kind of blessed to come across a man last summer, and he introduced me to a different side of this, because before it's always inner work. What do you do? And you brought up something called ormus, and Dawn, kind of introduced that to me, and in a way I'm kind of amazed that I hadn't come across the topic before. But ormus is kind of a cool thing, because if you go back to biblical times, how we actually make the ormus came from a recipe from a man who was an Essene. And if you're familiar with things that were going on in Jewish life, around the time of Christ, there was the Pharisees, Sadducees, and then there were the Essenes. And Jesus was an Essene, and the Essenes were the cool dudes, because they were the ones fighting the machine. They were the ones fighting the status quo. And this man in Washington State had retrieved from his past life as an Essene the recipe and the method to make this ormus. And this ormus creates actually from salts. And in that particular place in time, there's either salt from the Mediterranean or salt from the Dead Sea. And the Dead Sea salt is kind of an incredible mixture because of its concentration. It's so salty. And within the geometry of the salt crystal, and doing a pH swing, we're able to release these monatomic elements. And if you mix ocean water and Dead Sea water, then you get at least 11 elements in the monatomic or diatomic state. Gold, which is fantastic for connecting through your pineal gland or third eye to the spirit body. Platinum will connect at your throat chakra, and it is great for that throat chakra, which is expression, it's the mental body, and then on downward through silver and iridium and rhodium through the heart and solar plexus and all your chakras. And so the ormus helps your physical body connect to your spirit body or your subtle body, through what are these monatomic elements. They're like little microtubules or little black holes, and that connection as your body begins to absorb and take in these monatomics, then goes out to your soul body, your spirit body, your energy body, and then as the souls reproduce, they reproduce accurately. They're not relying on their own copies. They're actually going out to spirit, getting a perfect copy of you in spirit, bringing it back and creating it in the physical. Cool.
Wow.
Very cool. So, and what they've found is that one atom of iridium at the end of your DNA, as the iridium goes in and lines up, one atom in between your DNA strands, then instead of moving 10 electrons along that electrical wire, which is your strand of DNA, you can move nearly 1 million.
Wow.
So then,
you know what? We're going to have to do a whole nother show on this because we're just about out of time. And in fact, we are out of time.
Well, then hit up my site at Blue Water Alchemy. Hit my site at bluewateralchemy.com.
Okay, and then your other site is?
weatherwars.info.
Good, and I encourage everyone to go to weatherwars info and do some, just have fun with it. Scott has done some incredible research. There's some great videos, and I believe there's a link to Blue Water Alchemy as well, so you can look into the Ormus as well.
Indeed.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for being on. I just had a ball talking to you, and I wish you'd come back sometime and we can continue our conversation and find out more about the spiritual aspect and talk some more about the Ormus.
My pleasure. You've got my email, so you can hit me up anytime, Lance.
Okay, terrific. And you have that radio show too every Saturday. In fact,
it's on now.
It's on now. All right.
It's on now. I'm gonna run downstairs and hit the studio.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it so much.
You bet.
And thanks everybody for listening. And we'll call it a night. Happy spring equinox. Bye-bye.
Take care, Lance.